Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Good evening. The South African Communist Party elected its new leadership unopposed. Blade Nzimande retains his position as General Secretary. Solima Paila gets a promotion. He was elected first Deputy General Secretary. Earlier, Jeremy Cronin, who held the position before, announced that he would not be available for nomination. 5 of the previous leadership were re-elected unopposed. Senzeni Zokwane was re-elected as National Chair and Tula Singlesi as Deputy National Chair. And Joyce Moloyi Moropa was re-elected as National Treasurer, and all positions were uncontested, making it a smooth nomination and election process for the Communist Party. And joining us live, ANN7 reporter Natasha Piri is in Boksburg, Ekurhuleni, where the SACP is holding its Congress. Good evening to you, Natasha. Thanks so much for joining us. Of course, a very smooth transition there, essentially just renewing the term of the old guard, as it were.
Well, very chilly evening to you, Cindy, and to the ANN7 viewers. Indeed, a smooth transition, as you put it. The only changes there that we've seen is Obab Solima Paila being pushed up to the first Deputy SG, and then Obab Chris Matlhako, excuse me for the pronunciation, as a second Deputy SG. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think he hails all the way from the Northwest, but let's just actually gauge the feeling of delegates on the ground, how they're feeling about this. Was it really a smooth process? And this is just indeed all before we actually speak to the SACP's spokesperson, Obab Alex Mashila. I'm actually joined by nice and colorful, SACP delegates, and we'll just gauge the atmosphere, the mood here in Boksburg. Baba, let me just start off with you. I mean, how are you feeling? Lots of cheers when Obab Soli was actually pronounced or nominated, rather, as the first Deputy SG.
I'm so very happy. Unity in action. Unity of purpose. This is what we have done today here. And then we have so happy with my colleagues here as the delegates. So Soli is going to lead us with Comrades Blade and Comrade Matlhako. So as our secretariat, we are happy. Yes.
Are you sharing the same sentiments as well? Was it a smooth transition, smooth nomination process?
Yeah, it was indeed a smooth transition, and we also believe the leadership that we've put in power, they will lead the party, because we are happy also with the growth of the party, meaning that the party will grow more and more.
There were lots of rumors around contestations saying that Soli is actually going to take over Obab Blade. Was there any of that inside?
No, I think the party is not the party of contestation. It's the party of an ideology. It's a party that is dealing with the working class and the poor's perspective, and also it's a party of campaigns. We see that Comrade Solima Paila was very much hands-on. That is why maybe he was elevated to the deputy, and we are very happy as delegates. And I think that is the product that we have been looking for as the delegates. We are very much happy with the product. Yes.
So lots of people saying that they're actually very happy with the products and the nominations. Do you think that the leadership, somewhat the old leadership, is actually moving forward or will take the SACP forward in unity?
In unity, that's what we came here for, and it seems as if what we were gaining for, that's what we achieved. So we have retained all our top leadership. That's all what we have come here for.
But you've heard your counterparts saying the new leadership. How are you feeling about it?
SACP ke party e lore ne ke nne ya e rata batho ba yona e na le tlhompho ke kutlwa ke le botlotlo thata.
And just lastly, are you happy with the new leadership somewhat deal with the problems faced by the alliance?
More than happy. Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
I'm more than happy.
Okay. Baba?
We are glad to have this kind of leadership existing again. So we are going for it. Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, Cindy and the viewers, you've heard that lots of them saying that they're very happy about the new leadership that they have actually elected. But let's just actually speak to Obab Alex Mashila, who will just unpack not only the nomination process, but what was actually said throughout today, or said throughout yesterday. Lots of talks about unity and strengthening the alliance. As you know, that, I mean, the alliance comes under really, strenuous relationships right now with both alliance partners, the SACP and COSATU, calling for President Jacob Zuma, to step down. Also discussions around the relevance of the alliance. But Alex, let's just gauge on a lighter note the feeling, yeah, the feeling rather, not animosity, sorry, of what actually happened inside when those leaders are actually elected. There are lots of cheers when Ubabsoli's name was actually put forth. Just take the viewers through that.
The environment was electrifying when his name was announced, but I must say that all elected national officials of the SACP were highly welcome, and each one of them was received with a warm welcome by delegates. The difference in this instance is that you have had Comrade Soli Mapaila moved from the position of the second Deputy General Secretary to that of the first Deputy General Secretary. When you look at it from a long-term point of view, you can see that we come from a transition, but we are still in a transition as Comrade Nzimande called on delegates to discuss succession. So the SACP is doing very well, but we are not where we are supposed to be. I hope that other alliance partners, particularly the African National Congress, will learn from the SACP how elections are managed in a manner that leaves the organization intact, in unity, in cohesion. If this can happen in the African National Congress and be translated in the alliance, we are going to be a very strong collective behind our program to push a national democratic transformation, and on our part as the SACP and COSATU to advance to socialism.
And this also comes, the Congress also comes at the backdrop of the ANC National Policy Conference. Lots of talks at the NPC about unity, lots of talks against factionalism, organizational renewal, the disconnects between, the ANC and the people, and also the alliance as well. We also expect the SACP to actually address issues of the alliance. We've heard today Ubabsoli Mapaila saying that the alliance is not in a good state. I mean, just unpack those issues with us. How will the SACP actually deal with those issues as an alliance partner?
The SACP has been doing its bit to ensure that the alliance is intact, it is united. But we must agree that at the center of the alliance at present is the African National Congress, which is a governing party. There are many things that come with being a governing party. There are things that many ANC cadres and leaders were not having access to before 1994. Things such as deployments, and those who are in business, things such as tenders, those who are in office, things such as authority and power. Those things have got to be discussed openly, because sometimes you might think that they are factions, of course, but without getting to the material basis and the drivers of the factions, you may not understand what actually is being fought for. Why are these fights not taking place in the SACP? The SACP is not a governing party. So there is a fight in the ANC linked with deployments in the state. And we have seen that the problem with some of these deployments, the manner in which they are used, it is not in the interest of the people as a whole, particularly the workers and the poor, but it is in the interest of private interest, private family interest, private business interest, and competition for those positions end up manifesting itself politically in the form of factions. We have got to discuss these things so that we do not look at organizational renewal independently or in isolation from the material drivers of the problems that must be addressed. In South Africa, as things stand right now, if we return to reasserting the Freedom Charter, to clarifying the perspectives that are in the Freedom Charter, to having them in government policy. For example, as opposed to placing emphasis on empowering individuals on a private basis, but empowering the people as a whole, as the Freedom Charter says. In other words, building ownership of the commanding heights of the economy by the people as a whole, with the state serving as their custodian, we will be able to produce and deliver public goods and services by means of the state. If these things are delivered by means of tenders, competition for tenders will become factions, and factions will destroy the movement. And that is what we are experiencing right now. So we have a problem of the relationship between the state and society that is mediated by means of tenders. If we don't attend to that, the many problems we seek to resolve arising out of that problem are not going to be resolved.
Let's just also talk about other pertinent issues like the issues of radical economic transformation, of which we've heard on and on. And I mean, ructions over the characterization of white monopoly capital. Where does the SACP stand with that?
Let me say that the notion of white monopoly capital in this country was created by the SACP in 1962. But this was a shorthand to white monopoly capitalists. Over time, the party had to distinguish between the capitalists who accumulate capital on a private basis from worker exploitation and capital itself. What is capital? Capital is money. Capital exists in the form of tools, it exists in the form of machines, it exists in the form of machinery. But not every money is capital, like the 10 rand in your pocket. For it to be capital, it must be in circulation, it must be in motion. And that motion must be a motion to make more money. That's what it means by capital. And if you want to argue that the money, the machines, the machinery, and the process is white in color, you are going to hit a brick wall, because what you will be saying will not be in line with reality. What is white in South Africa is that the dominant section of capitalists in this country is made up by white capitalists who are males. But there is another side of the thing. There are sectors in the economy of South Africa that are not owned by any South African at all. For example, people like me worked in a sector that produces cars. In that sector, there is no local ownership, black or white. The laptops and this microphone is not produced by a black or white South African company. So we need to just engage in political education on what capital is and how different it is.
I'm so sorry. I'm just
from
gonna have to cut you short there. Where the conversation was actually getting heated up. Unfortunately, we've run out of time here from Birchwood, but we'll cross back to you in studio, Cindy, and of course we will give you rolling coverage of the SACP 14th National Congress from Birchwood. Back to you in studio.
Natasha, thanks indeed. Natasha Peria, reporter, reporting live from Birchwood Conference Centre in Boksburg, Ekurhuleni, the SACP day 2 of its National Congress. It ends on Saturday, and so far the leadership has been restored, or rather retained, and with a few changes here and there, but we'll continue with that live coverage. On to other stories.